Hi there, Northumberland. I'm Jan Spragge, and you're listening to the Jan Spragge Show. It's a wonderful day here in Northumberland, and it's also a wonderful day because we have someone on the line who is going to be a tremendous guest. I'm really looking forward to talking to them. Brian MacMillan. Brian is a singer-songwriter and well known in Canada, and he's a lot of fun. His music and his songwriting have won awards, and I think we're really going to enjoy this interview. Brian, as I say, is Canadian. He's a multi-instrumentalist. He's the recipient of the Colleen Peterson Award for Excellence in Songwriting and has performed his music at many great festivals across Canada, including Mariposa, Shelter Valley, Blue Skies, the Toronto City Roots, as well as many others. There's no doubt that Brian is very involved and very connected in the industry. He's also an in-demand side person, recording with and or playing a bunch of instruments and singing alongside some really, really fine people that you would know well in the industry, such as John Mcdermott, Kevin Hearn and Thin Buckle, Barenaked Ladies, the Wailin Jennys, Ron Hawkins and the Do-Good Assassins, Garth, Hudson of the band, Jory Nash and Cullen, just to name a few. But since the birth of his two children, Brian's been focusing a little more on staying closer to home by utilizing his production skills and his writing skills, scoring films, making music for commercials, producing other artists, and a number of other things. And he's working on a new record for himself. And so, he's a busy guy, that's for sure. He's actually going to be in town this Sunday. And stay tuned to find out how you can get one of the remaining 5 tickets. He's a guy that when he's in the area, certainly there's a lot of people. Those tickets go really fast because, like I say, he's one of the favorites locally. So welcome to the show, Brian. Thanks very much for taking the time to chat with us today.
Thank you. It's good to be here. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, well, I had so much fun figuring out this interview and figuring out a little bit about you because, boy, you have been really immersed in the Canadian industry for a long time. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. I've definitely, it's always been an interesting, not so much a challenge, but there's just so many things that I love to do that I kind of find a little pocket of interest in many different ways. So I've been, playing my own music and have gone across Canada in various forms many times and really focused on that for a while at first, and then but I also really enjoy supporting other people and playing guitar or piano or bass and singing a lot with other musicians, and it kind of gets me able to do other parts of playing music that I can't really do with my own songs or with my own music, especially when I'm playing just by myself. So I get to fulfill each side of my creative process that way by dipping into a little bit of a bit of production or recording and sideman, and then writing and singing on my own. And so I've definitely been doing as much as I can with with the limited time that I have. But I love all of those little corners and pockets of what is available to be done within Canada and just in the industry of music in general. There's a lot of different ways to contribute to that, so I'm still exploring that, but I've got a good handle on a few of them anyway so far.
Well, you certainly do have a handle on a lot of different aspects. How has that changed you as a songwriter?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's I was just having a conversation with a friend this morning about that. Just it makes it challenging in some way to even find that space sometimes. I mean, that was primarily what I spent most of my time doing, was just writing, and primarily for myself too. So I was writing songs that I was intending to record and perform. But getting into different sides of the things that can be done in recording and touring as a side person, it makes it a challenge to find that space again sometimes, where I really do value being pulled outside of my own process and being so self-focused as far as my own voice and my own songs and all of that stuff. But to get access back into that space is sometimes challenging when I've been branching out so much. So coupled with that, though, like, it really does inform my own songwriting. I feel like I'm just starting to get a handle on writing simpler songs, and more succinct, more to the point, and just the experience of seeing so many different ways that music can be done, and the ways that it can affect people with the different people that I've played. I feel like I've been given access to just the way that people can be touched in different ways by music, and that has definitely informed my songwriting. That's something that I really value and I'm aware of more than ever, I think.
That's really exciting, isn't it? It's, like you say, that simplification and bringing things down to really get to the core is, I guess, that emotional experience for people. What do you find are those things when you sit down? How do you capture that?
Yeah, that's a good question too. Let me know. I'm still honing that craft, but I think that I was at a coffee shop this morning and someone had a poster, not a poster, but there was they sometimes put art from local people in the neighborhood, and a new show just went up, and there was one painting that someone had on the wall, and it said, "Honesty is the best poetry." And I feel, I definitely feel more strongly than ever that just drawing as authentically as I can from my own experience, distilling that into a song, a short little song where every word counts and every word can convey more than just the word. I feel like it's just really about singing about things that can be commonly related to by a lot of people, and depending on what it is that you're writing about or what the intention is, like writing about things that people don't necessarily talk about that much, but everyone has experienced, So I really know when I see, especially when I've been playing with people like John Mcdermott, who's just an amazing storyteller, and his songwriting is really to the point and very story-based, and people relate to that so quickly, and it can translate into their own life story very easily. That transition is smooth. It's general enough, but also specific enough that they can, people can see themselves in a song. I think that's the craft and the challenge for me anyway with what I want to be able to accomplish.
Would you say some of these experiences, like you say, this sort of dipping and diving in and out, away from your own process, back in, things like playing guitars on Hockey Night in Canada theme for Rogers, or the TVO experience, those things, I guess, are a part of then taking that back home to your writing?
For sure it is, yeah.
So what was it like doing the Hockey Night in Canada?
It was amazing. It was such a... I'm really a big fan of just synchronicity and just enjoying those things that happen that are just too strange to shrug off. But that was a pretty random meeting with a friend of mine that I had recently met, who has a little studio around the corner from my house. I was doing a gig for a friend of mine who couldn't show up, so I went to play on a commercial to play some guitar, and he told me that he was thinking about pitching an arrangement for this song, because it was not quite, the previous theme was a contest in a way, or it actually was a contest, and people voted on the best theme, but this one was more of it was just a private call for submissions between some well-known writers that do that type of thing. And so my friend happened to be one of these people, so I did the commercial, and then I was walking down the street, and he was driving by, and he kind of yelled out the window, "Hey, are you free today? I'm going to do that submission for that the theme, and I need some guitar redone. Can you come over right now? And I was a little bit on my way to do something, but I thought, this is really cool, so I'm going to do it. And then it just so happened that his was picked. And so, you know, I normally wouldn't be the first or even the 30th person that would be called for that gig, but because there was some kind of look about it, my pal was really adamant about me being the one that went in to play it, because there was something about the way it all happened and the way we recorded it that was a part of him getting it, and he wanted that captured. So for me to do it, I was in there with some pretty heavy players, David A. Dorenzo on drums, who's one of the best in Canada, as is Pat Kilbride, the bass player, and then it was me, and so I felt kind of out of place, but I really practiced hard. So I kind of pulled it together, and it was amazing. Like, I had never really done anything like that. We were playing to I think like a 30-piece orchestra that had been recorded the day before at the Glenn Gould studio. So, and we were just playing it live off the floor, and that's how it ended up. It just, what we did was what the theme became. So it was really a really cool thing to be able to do.
I bet. It sounds like a lot of fun. And if you're a hockey fan, it must be, you know, just super duper.
A bit of a once-in-a-lifetime thing, for sure.
Isn't that great? And same with this TVO experience and the video. I've been posting that on the show's Facebook page, Brian, and the video,
it's pretty funny,
I love it. Tell me, did you get to keep the white suit?
Well, you know, I have to admit that is my white suit.
I love it. I love it. And I love it with the, you know, to go through, that was a really nice piece. I urge people to go and check this out, because it's a really nice piece about the history that if you grew up in Canada, just, you're going to recognize all of the players, and to be a part of that experience in that video and then the whole TVO experience. What was that like, Brian?
Yeah. I mean, for me, that was personally a lot cooler to be a part of. You know, the hockey theme was amazing, but I haven't actively watched hockey for a while, and I've always played it. But those shows, like, you know, to see some of the shows and the clips that were such a big part of me growing up, was amazing. And then I didn't really, going into it, I didn't really know what was happening. So we recorded the song, and then we had a day at a studio booked, and we knew we were going to be doing some things, but I didn't really know that I would be doing, along with my band, that level of acting and hamming, you know. So it was kind of a completely new experience for me, and really fun. Like, I just thought, wow, I could do a lot more of this. This is really enjoyable. So it was great. And, you know, we did the Nirvana, like the headbanging scene through the 90s era, little homage in that clip. And like, I woke up the next day and I had to go for a massage. I couldn't move my neck. I'm not used to headbanging anymore. My headbanging chops are a little rusty. But it was so fun. We had a great time.
Well, it was a great video, and you know, for people who haven't had a chance to watch it, it is showing TVO through the years, and then Brian and his band, you know, put the I was going to say almost uniforms, because all those eras of the music, you know, it's almost like these short little clips of video that you would have seen on MTV through the years. We actually had Brian, a fellow you might know, Rob Courtley, on the show not too long ago, and Rob was instrumental in creating a lot of the scenes that you guys actually had taken on in that. So
nice.
So that was a lot of fun. So I was thinking about Rob when I watched that video. But once again, so nice what a great experience. How interesting the places that your music takes you.
Yeah, that's one of the main things that I love about music, and you know, part of why I do. And I guess I'm either directly, or at least I'm open to just off the main path experiences is that very thing. Like, I just, you know, and then I was playing on stage because of that with Pokeroo, and you know, like that. When would that ever happen in my life? You know, unless music somehow led me down to those opportunities, which, you know, I'm also kind of a fan of saying no to as little as possible if there's something about it that piques my interest, because there's always something that can surprise you, inspire you, just completely unexpected, built into a lot of these experiences. So that's one of the gifts of playing music, for sure.
Yeah, playing with pokeroo. I mean, how many people are listening today that actually said pokeroo outside, as soon as you heard you say, oh gosh,
I know, it was amazing.
Even looking around the station here, people started to giggle because they all remember pokeroo. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. We're talking to Brian MacMillan, singer-songwriter, a Canadian well-known in the industry, not only for his own music, but also for producing and doing other things in the industry, and obviously even playing with pokeroo. I was wondering, Brian, if it might be nice to play one of your tunes. Why don't we play Shine? Could you let us know a little bit about this song, maybe set it up for us a bit?
Sure, yeah. This was a song that was... This was actually inspired by a meeting that I was fortunate enough to meet Richie Havens at a show at Hughes Room, and my wife Eden. Her mother Susan had been friends before he passed with Richie Havens for decades, and my wife Eden knew him. As growing up, he would be around from time to time if he was playing in town, and he's always been one of my favorites. So I was able to meet him when we saw him play. And he came back to my wife's mom's place, and I got to chat with him through the night. And this song really, I've always loved his energy and just the inspirational quality of just his approach to singing and writing, and so I was really thinking and feeling his music as that one came out, and I was maybe unconsciously emulating a bit of his sound and vibe.
Very nice, very nice. Well, it's certainly a very catchy tune, and so what we'll do, we'll play Shine. We'll go to a couple of commercial breaks, and we'll come back here on Northumberland 89.7 with Brian MacMillan, singer-songwriter and well-known Canadian all around in the music industry. And I'm Jan Spragge, and here is Brian MacMillan with Shine.
How many people are wondering, and I am one the same. Will we hear the thunder? Will we feel the rain? Though many hearts are floundering, though some may see the sun. See, many of us are walking, but some of us must run. When you shine your light shines on. You shine your light shines on. When you shine your light shines on. Shine your light, shine your light. Lord, many of us are buckling underneath the weight, and many carry burdens they have been handed down as fate. But when I look towards you, the whole world fades away. And when I look towards you, the sweetest music plays. When you shine your light shines on. You shine your light shines on. When you shine your light shines on. Shine your light, shine your light. Now someday we gonna rise up. 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 Many people are wondering when it's gonna end, and many people reach out, they're looking for a friend. But love is in the valleys, and love is in the peaks, and love is in the clean slate. Love is in the streets. Long you shine your light shines on. You shine your light shines on. When you shine your light shines on. Shine your light. Now someday we gonna rise up. 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 Now someday we gonna rise up.
That's Brian MacMillan with Shine. What a great tune. It's very toe-tapping and some fantastic lyrics. Really nice. We have the pleasure today of talking to Brian MacMillan on the line. Brian's going to be here live in Northumberland on Sunday. So I urge you to go to Facebook, to Hobbit House Concerts, to find out about how you can get a ticket. And you can also go to my Facebook page. I've been certainly posting information about that concert. There are 5 tickets left. You obviously do not want to miss this show. So you can also go to facebook.com/Jan Spragge Show to find out how you can get tickets to see Brian MacMillan this weekend, this Sunday here in Northumberland. You're listening to Northumberland 89.7. We're going to go to a couple commercials and then we will be right back here with Brian MacMillan. Hi there, Northumberland. I'm Jan Spragge, and you're listening to The Jan Spragge Show. We have the pleasure of Brian MacMillan being on the phone with us today. He's going to be pulling into town on Sunday for a concert that you don't want to miss. So do stay tuned to the Facebook page, facebook.com/Jan Spragge Show, to find out how you can get one of the remaining 5 tickets, because you don't want to miss this, that's for sure. Brian, I wondered if you could tell us about some of the projects you're working on right now.
Sure. Well, primarily I'm working on a new batch of recordings that I've done with my good friends and bandmates Ben Rollo on drums and Scott Galloway on keys, and we've kind of been playing as a trio on and off for quite some time. But this is kind of the first time that we've actually gone into a studio and just the 3 of us and just recorded the songs being played as the way we would play them at a show, and just basically live off the floor. So that's been really exciting, and I guess I've kind of been taking my time on that, but I've been working on them for the past few months and really trying to get them finished up and out into the world. But that's kind of the main thing that I've been working on, and recently just finished scoring a film as well for some friends that did their first feature-length film, and it was called The Volunteer, and that was a big, awesomely involved, fun project, and learning curve for me to be able to think about music so intimately tied with a visual thing. And so there's a few things that I'm still kind of juggling a recording project and doing some visual-based stuff, either film or some commercial stuff, and then I've recently also just joined Ron Hawkins and his band, the Do Good Assassins, and he was formerly of the band called The Lowest of the Low, which had a bunch of hits that I really was into when I was growing up. So it's been quite a thrill to be playing in that band as well. And so I feel like I have a good balance of most of the things that I need to keep my musical mojo happening.
And there seams to be a real push or pull, I guess maybe is a better word, for the exploration, to approach something like a score. Like you say, there's a learning process. What did you find that was particularly interesting about that process of moving to scoring for a movie?
Well, it was really neat for me to in a way, be forced or force myself to examine what it is particularly that can create such an emotional response in a viewer / listener when watching a particular visual. And, like we all have scenes and movies that we love and just scenes in those movies that just kind of tug at you emotionally and get you to respond. And often that wouldn't happen without the music, for sure, obviously without the visual, but the music, it plays such a huge part, and I always knew that and intuited that, but I had to really, I was forced to glean either on my own or just with specific notes from the director, just what the intended emotion was for the scene, and then try to find the matching music to match that feeling. Like there's a really funny, I'm a pretty big Star Wars fan, and I'm just getting my son into Star Wars, and there's this great scene at the end of one of the films where Luke and Han Solo and Chewbacca, they all get medals for their valor for basically saving the universe. And it's in this huge reception room or this courtyard. It looks like this just monstrous place, and there's thousands of people in there, and they're walking down this long alley, and all these people are applauding, and it's this amazing thing, and there's this triumphant music playing. There's a thing on YouTube where they've taken the music off of that, and it's just these people walking basically in silence down this hallway with a few people coughing, and it's hilarious how unepic it is. Like it's crazy just how much that music makes that scene so powerful. And you kind of know that, but now we have the technology to remove those types of things and show you, well, this is actually a kind of a ridiculous thing without the tied-in emotional piece through the music. So doing that was really studying that for a while was a huge learning for me, for sure.
Yeah, because I know that scene. Now,
yeah.
I don't remember the music, but I remember the emotion.
Yeah, it's very like bum ba da da dun 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 da da dun. Like it might even be the theme song for the Star Wars theme, but it's a huge orchestra, lots of crashing cymbals, and it's huge. It's like the Super Bowl or something.
Yeah.
And without that, it's like you laugh at how ridiculous it looks. They're just walking, and you can hear the feet shuffling, a few people coughing, and they're all looking at each other, longer than is kind of comfortable without the music. It's just kind of everyone's smiling at each other and coughing, and
Isn't
amazing.
That so, yeah. That is tremendous. What a thing to learn, and then, like you have so beautifully said, then to take that back into even the studio when you're writing in a more personal way.
For sure.
That sounds exciting.
It is, yeah. And then also just, it informs just songwriting too. Like what are the it works in the opposite way. Like what visuals are connected inherently with the music and the lyric that you're writing? What type of visual are you trying to convey in the inner space? Like for someone to have to imagine the song, like you kind of can't help but have pictures in your head while you're hearing someone's song, especially if it's a very story-based piece of music. So, you can use that same intention with a piece of music that you would just listen to normally,
When you perform a song, do you go to that place of the visual as well?
I do, yeah, I often do. And I'm a pretty big fan of telling stories too, and just the stories connected with songs, and just telling stories in general. But I definitely like to at least, if there's something that's not quite obvious in the song, I like to at least set up what was happening either for myself or what I was kind of thinking around a piece of music, so at least to give some kind of framework for the listener. It can often make the words connect to a feeling a little easier if that might not be an obvious thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. We're talking with Brian MacMillan today, a Canadian singer-songwriter here on Northumberland 89.7. Brian, I wondered if you might be able to set up the song Another Day, and then we could play that.
Sure. Another Day. So this was a piece of music that originally started as a guitar part, and the song was really came out of me just ruminating about bigger meaning, just why I'm doing what I do, and not necessarily having any answers, but just really trying to find and think about ways to bring more meaning into the everyday. So that song really came out of a phase where I was thinking and feeling that a lot, and that was probably part and parcel with that whole album. Let the Darkness Go was a bit cathartic in that way. Going in, I was feeling that way, and coming out after the record, I felt like I'd found a way to instill that in my music and just more in my life post that process. So this was a going in song for sure.
Yeah, nicely said.
Thank you.
We're going to play Brian MacMillan's Another Day in just a second, and I do urge you to get one of the remaining 5 tickets for Sunday's show here in Northumberland. You can go to Hobbit House Concerts on Facebook or to the show's Facebook page, facebook.com/Jan Spragge Show, so you can get one of those tickets, and maybe we'll even hear Brian play this song, which is Another Day, here on Northumberland 89.7. I'm Jan Spragge.
Another day streaks the skies with blue. Another day don't know what I'll do. Another day says come on, let's go. Another day I'll say I don't know. Another day puts it on my plate. Another day I'll push it away. And another day says it all can change. Another day I'll just stay the same. Well, it could be the gifts, it could be the taste, could be the way they make me hate. Could be the crowds and all their voices. Could be there's just too many choices. Another day moves ahead in time. Another day I'm one more behind. And another day shimmers oh so high. Another day's gone and where was I? Well, it could be the gifts, it could be the takes, could be the way they make me ache. Could be the crowds and all their voices. Could be there's just too many choices. Could be the road goes on too far. Could be I'm waiting on my star. Could be the world and all its schemes don't have the room for one more dream.
Jan Spragge, and that was Brian MacMillan with Another Day. And I have to admit, I actually think I may have worn out YouTube playing that song the other night over and over again before I had my own MP3 of that. I'll tell you what a fantastically beautiful, beautiful song by our guest today, Brian MacMillan. We're going to be back with Brian after these commercial breaks. And in the meantime, maybe when you're on commercial break, jump onto Facebook, facebook.com/Jan Spragge Show, and hook in with Hobbit House Concerts. You're going to want to like their page as well, because Hobbit House Concerts is they bring so many incredible acts through Northumberland. Jonathan Bird and the Pickup Cowboys were here not long ago, and we had them in studio, and that was courtesy of Leslie and Hobbit House Concerts. And you're going to be able to get one of the 5 remaining tickets, although there might not be that many now, for Brian MacMillan this Sunday at 2 p.m. here in Northumberland. So make sure you do that. So I'm Jan Spragge. We'll go to a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with Brian MacMillan here on Northumberland 89.7. Hi, this is Jan Spragge, and you're listening to the Jan Spragge Show here on Northumberland 89.7. Today, our guest on the line is singer-songwriter Canadian Brian MacMillan. We've been playing some of his tunes, and boy, I'm really looking forward to the concert on Sunday. And Brian, can you tell us a little bit about the importance of touring for you?
Yeah, well, touring is definitely more important, I think, than ever. Well, maybe not ever, but it has reemerged as one of the primary places for musicians to get out there and to earn a living with all of the stuff that's going on, you know, with recorded music and the way it's distributed these days. It's definitely of utmost importance for people to tour. And for me, you know, I took a bit of a step back from that over the past handful of years after having kids. So, and my kids are 4 and 2, and I'm just now feeling like I'm able to get a bit more space to build a bit some more momentum in that way. But I definitely, you know, I think for me personally, anyway, 90% of what's so fun and great about making music with the intention of people hearing it and enjoying it is playing it for them in person and really connecting with them on a personal level, face-to-face, night after night. That's on the ground level, that's where the power of music can be immediately seen and felt, you know, in an exchange on both ends from the listener and the performer. So, yeah, and it's mirrored many places these days that, you know, touring is just for people that have already been doing it and have always been doing it, great. Just keep doing it. And for those that want to find another way to get a foothold into just getting their music out there, that's still the best way to do it, I think, you know.
And I would think it's a part of that invitation back of going out and getting people's feedback and then bringing that back into your work again.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is, you know, it's a community of, like, you're building in a lot of these places, and in doing things that are off the beaten path, especially, which, you know, for a lot of us, it is the beaten path, like house concerts and acoustic series and church halls and different types of reviews. Like, that is, in many ways, the only place for someone who's performing acoustic music or anything that's not really suited for a bar, you know. You really start to build a community, and it does become a lifestyle where those are the people that they become friends, they become family, they become these hitching posts, if you will, along the way, where you can get a sense of community and connection, and you look forward to seeing the same people, and yeah, you really do build something that is outside of the music. The music's kind of the vehicle that brings you there, but, you know, you would never meet most of these people in your life, you know, and especially in smaller places, the people that are hosting these shows, they value that very highly. Like, that's you know, there's not a lot of things that come through a lot of the smaller towns in Canada, so there's a different relationship from the host, the listener, than in a place like Toronto, say, where, you know, there's 1,000 bands playing every single night and fighting for those spots. It's just background a lot of the times, but there's a real focused and intentional listening community that gets built when you go to places that are not in big centers. So it's really important for that, especially, you know.
Well, I know that Leslie does a beautiful job of that here with Hobbit House concerts here in Northumberland. And you spoke to it so beautifully. That sense of community. I'm looking forward to not only hearing you live, Brian, but seeing a lot of the people that I've come to know at those different concerts. And
that's right.
It's a really nice community, and I find that those people connect in other ways, in other community events or important causes. It's a way of sharing on a broader scale. We're very lucky locally, and Northumberland 89.7 really likes to highlight a lot of our talent here locally in Northumberland. But to then have people like yourself who are also coming through town, once again, it's that cross-pollination, because a lot of the musicians come to a show like yours, and that's another way to cross-pollinate too. And they're very important events that happen in the community.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, you know, like, Leslie is such a great example of that, because she's very proactive and active within the community. So she's always seeking out music that she loves and that she thinks people will love to bring to her house for the house concerts, or like the Jonathan Bird show, putting it on in a bigger space where more people can see it, and just with her involvement in the past and now presently with festivals like Shelter Valley, and, like, you know, she's around you see her in many different places that are connected with music but aren't always necessarily a concert per se. But she's just really involved in people like that are so important in a place where someone like me may not have a suitable place to perform. That music doesn't stop there, you know. And so, and I know that Leslie's network of friends and people that have become friends just through the music really are grateful and can look to her to bring the community together. So not only is the music showing up and being a vehicle for that to even happen, but then there's also the people that are hosting that are bringing in pockets of the community together, and it's just this big web that's ever growing, you know, and that's so awesome. Like, it's immeasurable how much that affects just people that are in a town that now are connected into this web of music and art and just sharing of that stuff. It's really amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. And unfortunately, we only have a couple of minutes left, Brian, but in a nutshell, I'm curious as to, you know, what you've learned about yourself, about the world, people, because you've done such a beautiful job being involved in so many different facets of the music industry. What have you learned, Brian?
Oh, that's a very good, big question. I think in a nutshell, what continues to pleasantly surprise me, and I have to keep reminding myself, is that there are many, many people out there that want to connect. They just want to connect with something, with somebody, they are looking to connect. And one of those ways and it's just ended up for me, is one of those ways is through music. And, I get something from that, but just me doing it sets up a space for other people to connect with each other. And just, I'm just always so pleasantly surprised and feel really inspired and good about the fact that there are so many good people out there that are ready to be supportive and ready to help you share things that will benefit a greater amount of people. So
yeah.
So
it's all
easy to be a little bit cynical about that at times, but there are more than enough amazing reminders out there if you know where to look.
Nice. Nicely said. And your website, if people want more information?
Yeah, it's brianmacmillanmusic.com.
And they can connect with you there. It's all about connection, like you say.
Yep, and I'm on Facebook too. I have Brian MacMillan Music as my Facebook page, and I'm all over those places.
Yeah, well, I'm particularly looking forward to connecting with some like-minded and hearted people this Sunday and listening to your show. And I do urge people to jump on to Hobbit House Concerts on Facebook to get one of the 5 remaining tickets to see Brian this Sunday here in Northumberland at 2 p.m. So thank you very much today for taking the time, Brian, and hanging out with us here on Northumberland 89.7. And we wish you all the best moving forward.
Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure to chat with you.
Thank you. Good.
See you Sunday.
See you Sunday.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was Brian MacMillan, and you can hear Brian this Sunday. Jump onto Facebook and Hobbit House Concerts. Sure to delight this Sunday. Make sure you get one of the last 5 tickets. Call the station if you have trouble getting online, and we'll see if we can hook up a ticket for you here. So I'm Jan Spragge, and you've been listening to The Jan Spragge Show here on Northumberland 89.7.